So this video is a compilation of Madeline Soto's current teachers, and one former teacher, talking about her and how she was in class, how they observed her to be, and how she was in recent weeks and days before her tragic death. So I myself am in the field of education. I was a special educator for a long time now. I'm a behavioral therapist and still work in special education. And I have some observations myself about these educators and what they have to say about Madeline. So this first teacher here, of the interviews that are given, she is my favorite in terms of the connection it seems that she has to Madeline. One thing, sadly, that all of the teachers said was they didn't feel that they really ever had any personal or private or even one-on-one conversations with Madeline, with the exception of her music teacher, who we're going to hear in just a bit here. And I just thought that was really sad. I'm thinking, hey, are these just a bunch of, beat educators, or was there something going on with Maddie where she had a difficult time, really relating to other people or relating to adults? I don't know. Leave a comment and let us know what it is you think as you listen to these interviews.
Hi, Mr. Luca. How you doing? My name's Detective Payne. You can just call me Jeff. You want to have a seat? Sorry for the ominous setup, but this is, at least we're in some air conditioning at least. So, all right. So, first name is Angela. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, they put us kind of over here in the corner, didn't they? So,
I don't know the portable numbers.
There's a handful of us. That's why we're out here. We're not in the office. But what's a good address for you? Okay, cool. How do you...
She's at my first period class, so she's supposed to be my first period class.
Okay. What do you teach?
I teach.
Okay. How well do you know her?
I thought pretty well. She has been in my class all year round. She's always very sweet, and she struggles a bit. I mean, all my kids are intensive kids, so they're the students who are struggling. She was on my door decorating team.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but she's been in your class since fall?
Since the beginning of the year,
fall of 23, and then, okay, okay.
She was on my door decorating team. She was actually chosen to be my student of the week from 2 weeks ago for helping us win our door decorating competition with our friends.
Okay.
And she came before school and after school a couple times for that event, which was 1 week.
Okay. So she got student of the week.
Yes.
For the door decorating.
Her certificate's on my desk to give her.
Okay. Did they win door decorating?
Yeah.
Okay. You said that she came early?
Yes, her and her came with a few other students to help with the door decorating the week of Literacy Week, which check if you need exact dates. I think it was January.
Do you have a picture of the door?
Yeah.
Can you text that to me? And I will text you right now, so you'll have my number.
Our door was all about spreading kindness and love, and they put in a lot of thought and effort into it. With it, so I'll send you the picture.
Oh, perfect.
With her in it.
Yes, perfect. How well do you think you know her? You said you thought you knew her pretty well. Did you guys have like one-on-ones? Like,
not really any one-on-ones.
Okay.
Like I didn't even know. Like I didn't.
Okay.
Like I thought I knew her. Like I know my other students, but we've never really had a lot of personal talks.
Okay.
Really, her showing up for door decorating was probably the most that I've had like private conversations with her. It was with her other friends there.
Oh, that's okay.
Not the most tech savvy. I've been talking with the other teachers. I know she's very good friends with. Don't know.
Okay.
I'm speaking of.
Okay.
She's also good friends with, I believe. Okay. I think that is sending to you now. picture right next to her, and they
Yeah.
both won Student of the Week for door decorating.
Okay, let me see, make sure I get this. Yep. Okay, so green sweater is
Yeah.
behind. Who are these two kids on the left? Did you ever? You said you never really had like one-on-one conversations with.
For door decorating, we
Okay.
would chat about certain things.
Okay,
I
so
know
she didn't confide in you or anything.
not anything like what we learned about last night. Nothing like
Okay.
that.
Okay. What did they tell you last night?
About the maybe sexual assault. I don't know. I just know that there was maybe some kind of stuff on his cell phone.
Okay. Who told you that?
I saw it online. The police, the sheriff.
You saw it online.
Report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sheriff report.
Okay. Okay.
As far as I know. The only thing that I can say related to that is I know that she had been reading a book a couple months ago, and it had kissing in it, and it was a graphic novel, and she was like scandalized that there was a kissing scene. So I hope and pray that nothing had been happening sexually. I don't know, but she had been acting like, oh my gosh, kissing, like that it was like a shocking thing to like see a picture of two people kissing. They had been talking during, again, I'm not part of this conversation, they were talking about how they had heard Lady Gaga's, oh my God, Want to Take a Ride on My Disco Stick, and Miss DeLuca, did you know what that song was about? So they've had, but they were all acting very, scandalized, shocked by it. So I'm hoping and praying that she has not had that, but I don't. But that's most of my students. They're 12. They're just learning about that kind of thing. They're going through sex ed and science class right now. Can I ask, was there evidence of that?
The investigation's still ongoing, so unfortunately I can't really go into too many details. So she never made any disclosures to you about, like you said, sexual abuse, being abused in any other way at home, nothing like that?
No, I didn't even know that. I'd never heard her mention. I don't think I've ever. I'm trying to think if she came to open house, but I don't think so.
So you have not met anybody in Angela's?
I believe so.
Okay. Have you seen any signs of depression or suicide?
No.
Suicidal ideation, anything like that? Okay.
I was shocked when the kids were telling me about the live in the woods conversation. I was, no, guys, that's. Apparently it was on her phone, but I was shocked to hear something like that. She was very excited about her birthday.
Okay. How are her grades in your class?
Low.
Okay.
She's had a D pretty much every quarter. Kind of like when we are working in class, she's able to, and then she does get extended time. It's the follow through and getting things done that she didn't really do very often.
Okay. Have you seen any real shifts in her behavior?
No.
Okay.
If anything, I would say that it was almost better since like door decorating. Like I felt like she was trying a little bit harder in class.
Okay. And I'm sorry, when was the door decorating competition?
I think that's what I was going to find out where that picture was from. I'm sorry. So that picture was, when it was finished, was January 26th. So that was a Friday. So that full week was when we did door decorating.
Okay.
January 22nd through the 26th.
22nd to the 26th.
And there was a few days before school and a few days after school that they came and decorated. I no longer have the log of what days they came.
Okay.
I just, once I had her name on the list.
I'll just mark it as the end of January.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you think I need to know about anybody she talked to? Anybody? Do you feel like anybody she might have confided in?
Friends, and then when I'm talking to other teachers, they go, "Oh no, the other so on." They are like, "Oh, we don't see us as much." But I would have said that together, all in my first period together. Okay. So they're all together, and I kind of just associate the three of them together.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've been crying since Monday, since they called me and tried to ask if she was in my first grade class that day. I just wish we had more information.
Okay. I certainly appreciate taking time to talk to me. Okay. Can you swear and affirm everything you told me has been true and correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
This next teacher's name is Madison, and she talks about being present in a meeting where Maddie switched from a 504 to an IEP plan, basically. So let me tell you what these terms mean if you do not know. So this is like special education in American Education 101. So a 504 plan is for a student who doesn't necessarily have a learning disability, but has some kind of usually a health or emotional situation that may impact their learning. So with this 504 plan, we say that we recognize that this student might need special situations or special accommodations to help them be successful in school. So that's what a 504 plan is all about. Now, an IEP is when a student goes into actually receiving formal special education services. It's an individualized education plan. That's what IEP stands for, and it is usually reserved for students who do have some kind of specific learning disability. So this could be, well, it can be a number of things, okay? I don't even want to get into the listing there. Yeah, but it's for a student who has a learning disability and needs special accommodations and modifications to the curriculum and to the material that's presented in class and to the way that they're tested so they can access the information that kids are learning in school that a student without a learning disability could access. I hope that makes some sense for you here. Now, this is a teacher who says that she had mentioned Stephan Stearns. Maddie had mentioned Stephan Stearns, just saying he's kind of creepy. She doesn't like that he eats their stuff. You know, he's in their space, and she was happy that he wasn't going to be around for a while. So let's take a listen to Madison.
Today's date is February 29, 2024. The time is 13:02 hours. It's going to be reference to Orange County case number 24-011313. I'm Detective Bradshaw with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Ma'am, could you state your first and last name for me, please?
Madison Brady,
Could you spell Madison for me?
Madison.
And then Brady, Brady?
Yes.
Okay, and what's your birthday? And my understanding is you are... We're here today to kind of talk about the situation that's involved. I have a couple of specific questions that I have to ask you. But can you tell me a little bit about, like, you know, what you know, your relationship with her is, just any information that you could give me on that?
So I met her at the beginning of this school year in an ESE meeting. She was being transferred over from 504. That she was under that in 6th grade with our 6th grade counselor, Miss Merritt. Okay. Transferring over at the beginning of this year to the ESE services with our ESE staffing specialist, Miss McGregor. So I was sitting in on that meeting. In that meeting, they approved that switch and she got switched over. I heard a little bit about her background in terms of having ADHD, a lot of problems with focus that affects her schoolwork and grades, and then some mental health concerns in terms of a lot of anxiety and panic attacks. So from there, I have been doing ongoing check-ins with her throughout the school year thus far. I think we've met about, I was looking at it earlier, 6 times.
Okay, since the beginning of the school year?
Correct.
Got it, okay.
When she has come to me, it's often been those feelings of panic. She's come to me like in the middle of class or during lunchtime just feeling really panicked, kind of heavy breathing, feeling really overwhelmed. And when we've had our conversations about, well, what's going on, what's making you feel this way, I've gotten responses saying, well, it's my anxiety, sometimes I don't know, I'm just really overstimulated with all the noise in the cafeteria. But I've also gotten responses with, well, things at home with her. And when I pressed about that, it seemed to be things along the lines of, well, she gets upset that I'm forgetful or that I don't clean my room the way she wants me to. And we talked about what that does to affect her. And she says, yelling, that makes me get overstimulated and then I can't respond to her in a way that she wants me to. So we discussed strategies for kind of calming herself down and talking. She's calm about how that makes her feel. And she reported to me that she did have that conversation for our past check-ins since December. So December, January, February, we had a check-in every single month, and each of those check-ins she had said to me, things are better at home and things are a little bit better at school, and I haven't had her come to me in months with any sort of panic or anxiety. I did have her mention on occasion her home situation. At that time was when I asked her about that. The only thing she really said was, I don't really like him. He's kind of weird. So I said, okay, well, what does that mean? How is he weird? Why don't you like him? And her responses were nothing of that level of concern. It was always, well, he eats all of our food and he hangs out in the living room and it makes me uncomfortable because I don't really like him, so I don't want him to be there. But nothing ever to the level of concern that we're seeing now. And the last thing I heard about him was he's moving out. I'm happy about that, and that's helping me feel better with home.
When was that conversation that he was moving out?
That was about a couple of months ago, so I would say around December.
Okay, so sometime in December, you guys had a meeting and she said, okay, got it. Did she ever mention anything to you about having depression or like suicidal thoughts or any suicidal attempts or anything like that?
She never mentioned anything along those lines. It was always more so focused on the anxiety and the panic.
Okay.
And a lot of times she wasn't able to verbally articulate what exactly was making that panic arise beyond feeling overstimulated or just not knowing.
Okay. So she never mentioned to you about wanting to hurt herself, wanting to die, wanting to, nothing like that?
She never mentioned wanting to harm herself or wanting to die. She made comments in the interactions where she was feeling panicky, saying things more so like, you know, this hurts and I don't like this or want to deal with this, but it was never anything like I want to hurt myself or end my life or anything along those lines.
Gotcha. Okay. And she didn't disclose that she was taking medication for anything other than just the anxiety or for the ADHD and the anxiety?
I didn't talk to her specifically about medication, and I can't recall what was said. It would be in the ESE meeting notes if it was discussed that she was or wasn't on medication.
And she has an IEP, you said, correct? So she switched from the 504 to the IEP.
Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. Did she mention anything about just didn't like him because he ate their food and he was in their living room? Like, did she say anything else to you, disclose anything to you?
She did not. She didn't talk about, asked her about those comments of him being weird and uncomfortable. The only things she gave me were, well, I don't know, he's just a little weird. He eats our food and he's always hanging out in the living room and I don't really want to be around him, and nothing. And the way she said it was so like joking
Uh-huh.
in terms of like, I don't know, he's weird type situation, like laughing about it. It never made me feel like there was a safety concern.
Okay, so she didn't disclose anything about him ever touching her inappropriately, or them having any sort of a sexual relationship, or them having any sort of an inappropriate relationship whatsoever. None of that was ever disclosed or
anything along
brought
those
up to you.
lines.
Okay. Let me check and see. There's, like I said, there's some other questions that I have to ask, and I just want to make sure that I touched on them. Okay, did you ever see, I know we talked about like the anxiety and the panic attacks, and you said she never, mentioned anything about being depressed or being suicidal or anything. Did you ever see her exhibit any of those behaviors, like that she is depressed, or that did you notice anything about her that was out of the ordinary other than the things we've already talked about?
It seemed more so to be very up and down.
Okay.
Like she would have those heightened moments of the panic and the crying, and just kind of, she would go from that to just like shutting down after the panic. And then if you talked her through it a little bit, like there's one specific instance in my statement that she could not say what was making her feel that way. And so I asked her to draw it out, and she was able to do that.
Okay.
And then she kind of put on there just like a lot of scribbles, which to her, she said that meant just like the chaos of all the feelings and thoughts that she's having that make her feel overwhelmed. And then words she wrote. So things along the lines of like, why, or crying and things like that. And after that happened, I reached out that she wasn't at school for a couple days. So I was like, concerned of, okay, we went from this to now being out, what is happening? I reached out, and at that point he's been struggling lately, a lot of tears and feelings, but that she was seeing a weekly therapist.
Okay.
So she supposedly had someone that she was seeing weekly about all of this.
Okay.
And also stated at that point she hadn't been at school because she was sick, and she was going to take her to the doctor that day. And she mentioned seeing the drawing that from our conversation, and I, encouraged her to share that with Mom, so she did. And, she said that she appreciated that, and that helped her in that day, which at the end of that conversation with her, she was able to calm down and feel better. But at that point, that's when it got a little concerning, to the point that I reached out to Mom just to say, hey, what's going on? And found out, okay, she at least has supposedly weekly therapy sessions outside of school.
And most of these things you said that would trigger these panic attacks or these anxiety-inducing issues were because of issues that were going on with them, correct? Like where she would argue with.
It seemed to be a combination of bringing that from home, the arguments and the feeling like she's taking on those feelings at home of, I don't feel safe in terms of not necessarily physically safe, but emotionally safe, that at me and causing me to feel overstimulated. And then I come to school and it's loud and there's lots of kids and I'm overstimulated again.
But it wasn't. This usually.
And things she said along the lines of, my room's not clean, or you forget to do this, or you don't do that. So to me, that's like things about it was never,
especially at that age, with the teenage age, Okay, so how about her grades or her behavior? Have you noticed any shift in her grades or the behavior that she would normally exhibit?
Grades have seemed stable. We've been working on, in our check-ins, kind of coming up with strategies because of her ADHD and in terms of getting her missing work in to bring up the grades. And she seemed to be making improvements with that since around December, when she started reporting things are better at home, at school.
Okay.
Our last check-in was February 6th, I believe. And at that point, she was very happy that day. I called her down just to do our check-in, and she said things are going really well. She feels really happy. Things are better at school. And that was the last time we had a check-in.
And that was because of the strategies that you had kind of given her to help her?
Yes, she had been getting some of that work in. Her teachers are working with her because she has the IEP, and she said that she used the strategies at home to talk about the when we're calm, let's talk about what it's like when we're not calm and how that makes us feel.
Gotcha.
And she says she was able to successfully do that.
Good. That's excellent. Okay. I know we talked a lot about, like, you know, kind of just briefly mentioned with her. And I know you've only known her for a short period of time, but you haven't noticed a dramatic shift from when you first met her to now that's negative. Like, have you?
Correct. When this first came up, my first thoughts are, oh, things have been better. So
Okay.
I'm like,
So it's surprising to you, it
yes,
sounds like.
How did,
How did we get to this point?
yes.
Okay, so there's nothing that would stand out to you that would make you think that something was on, like that things were declining at home. You actually thought things were actually getting better at home
Right.
based on what she was telling you.
From the information that I had from her,
Okay.
without at that point having spoken to friends or anything I had, to me the perception was things are getting better.
And what was the last date that you met with her?
February 6th.
And that was the date that she was like, hey, things are getting better. We're using these strategies at home and all of that. Got it.
We
Okay.
were supposed to have our next session to follow up this week, and obviously I haven't been able to do that.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of that I have not asked you that you want to relate to me while I have you in here?
To me, the only things that are just sticking are the comments of he is weird and I don't like him. And
Okay.
I wish I had more information to say where that came from, but when I asked that, all I got was he eats our food, he hangs out in the common areas.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you swear and affirm everything you told me is true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Today's date is February 29, 2024. The time is 15:20 hours. It's reference to Orange County case number 24-011313. I'm Detective Bradshaw with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Sir, can you state your first name for me, please?
My name is Italo,
Spell it for me.
Italo,
What's your last name?
Brett, Brett.
Okay. So, Mr. Brett, you are a teacher here at Meadowwoods, or I'm sorry, not Meadowwoods.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so I just had a couple of questions for you in reference to assume that she was one of your students. Would that be correct?
She was, yes.
Okay, what period did you have her in?
I had her initially in 6th period for the start of the year, and
Okay.
then she requested to be moved to 3rd period because she was having some issues of like not being able to keep up, or rather, she was keeping up, but it was too many behavioral issues around her, so she was
Okay.
getting tired, so she requested to move to 3rd.
So not behavioral issues like specifically with her, but with other kids that
Other
were in
kids,
your
yeah.
class that she didn't like.
Correct, yeah.
I got it. Okay. Did she ever talk to you about her home life, anything that was going on with her, anything like that?
No.
She never said anything to you? Did at any point, did she ever disclose any sort of physical or sexual or mental abuse to you?
No.
Okay. Did she mention anything to you about having any suicidal ideations, ever making any attempts at suicide?
No.
Okay. Did she ever express to you at any time if she had any mental or medical diagnosis?
No.
Okay. Did she discuss taking any medications with you for anything?
No, the only time I've ever seen her take anything was Tylenol. In
Okay.
the front office, Ms. Schilling could confirm with that too, because we both kind of saw her because we were trying to figure out how to make sure that she was okay to take those.
Okay.
In here, so.
Did you notice any sort of like recent changes in her behavior from the start of the school year until now?
Not really, no. She just seemed happier within the 3rd period class that we were in,
Okay.
which is the advanced treble course I have. She seemed happier there. She learned her music really quickly, as with the rest of the girls in that class. She usually is very participatory. She's usually up performing with us. She doesn't miss a concert. She doesn't miss anything. The only thing I guess I could note is like on Friday she was sitting, but that a lot of the girls sit at random times, and that's related to either they have cramps or whatever. So I didn't think that was odd, but you know she usually is up and participating and active.
She didn't tell you that anything was wrong on Friday?
No.
Okay, she didn't mention to you that anything had been going on or that she was feeling sad or down or anything like that? Okay. And you haven't, in your opinion, you haven't seen her have any sort of signs that she's been depressed since the beginning of the school year at
Not
all,
that I
or
would
any
notice.
suicidal?
Like, she just seemed pretty normal, very, very happy, easy making her friends. I would say she bloomed a lot more in third because she had her friends there. So
Okay.
she was more outspoken and more confident. She's very helpful in my class. She even organized my piano once because it was all papers on top of it. She put it all together. She wanted to do that. So, that's not noticed anything off about her.
Okay. Now, I don't know how you do your grades or anything like that in your class. Has she declined at all in her participation, like in her grades, anything of that nature that you've
No,
noticed?
She maintains pretty steady, and I just grade her participation if you're standing and performing and the concerts. So I've not noticed anything of decline. She is there. That the only time, and even on Friday when she was sitting, I think she was still singing with us. She was
Okay.
just sitting down, which was the only thing,
That was different.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. How about her? You've never overheard her talking to her friends about anything like that at all?
Very, when I send a message and talking points or whatever, she reads them. I've gotten before me on Monday evening. Wasn't home yet.
Okay.
She was like, "Hey, is school today?" So she, so she knows, she can reach out to me and it's open to do so and anything because that's, she's always involved. So.
Okay. So since the beginning of the school year, more so happy now that she's in your third period, able to make friends. She's pretty consistent. So nothing out of the ordinary that you can think of off the top of your head that
Nothing
would
comes
be
to mind right now
alarming
that's,
or
alarming. The only most alarming thing I've seen was the message that Monday when she was missing. So
okay. And what was that message?
it was. I can read it to you. Exactly.
Okay.
Talking points. So this was through the app Talking Points. Talking Points is what district and county uses to communicate between teachers.
Okay.
It's faster than emails, just texting. So that's loading. So on Monday, February 26th at 5:36 p.m., she said, "Hi, make it to school today. She hasn't made it home today." Then at 5:53, when I was able to reply back, I said, "Hi, Miss Soto. I don't know. Checking Skyward, she was absent for periods 1 to 5 and period 7. Period 6, I guess, hadn't marked her, but that's not really so strange because sometimes teachers just forget.
Right.
that happens. So, but yeah, I told her, that's very alarming. Just, please keep me informed." Then I reported it to my teacher mentor. So, and then she reported it to Kelly Armstrong and everyone else in the school. And then and she'd been waiting for the police for a while. So
Okay.
I kind of talked a little bit then. I asked at 6:20 she was home yet. Hasn't made it home yet. Waiting for the police. And then, so I've heard cops trying to speed things up, but that was it. So then I haven't reached out back because I'm trying to be giving her space. So.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of that I haven't asked you that you can recall right now, or anything else you want to tell me?
Nothing comes to mind. I think, her behavior is pretty consistent in class. Whenever I see her out of class or whatever, I would say hi. She replies back normally. So.
And she seems like a pretty happy.
Yeah, she just seems pretty happy. It was just, that's why part of it, why it was so shocking that she'd be gone is just how close it happened, how she just, whenever people started saying maybe she ran away, it just didn't seem like it to me that she could be the type to run away.
Okay.
But then, of course, information started coming out about what was happening, so.
Gotcha.
Spell your first name for me.
ANNELISE.
98. Put 88. Sorry, I'm projecting my own age here. And what's a good address for you? It is February 29th, 2024, about 1:12 p.m.
I am.
Okay. Just bear with me. I'm going to take some notes while we talk. How well do you think?
I think I know her pretty well.
Okay.
I mean, we've had some interactions. There's a lot of kids in.
Okay.
I have seen some interactions with her.
Okay. Who does she hang out with the most in class?
She hangs out with a student. Her name is.
Okay.
And another girl in my class, I believe was her name, and
Any idea how to spell that last name?
I want to say
Sounds about right. Okay, so she
teachers' classes in there, and
is in the class but has another. Okay. Any problems with girls in class?
nope, I've never really had issues. I've always very anxious type of student.
Okay.
So anytime she needed to ask me something or if she felt like something was wrong, she always wanted to bring her friends with her. She always needed like a buddy system with her to kind of huddle in, and they would be like asking the question for her.
Okay. So was she shy or was she?
I don't know if maybe like shy around authority figures.
Okay.
Because I see her like with her friends, and she's not. You know, they're playing volleyball and laughing and talking.
Okay, that makes sense. Have you ever talked to any of the other teachers at the school about? Have you heard anything else about her?
Nope.
Okay.
I know she did get Student of the Week a few weeks ago.
Okay.
The week of February 16th. I think Miss DeLuca. I saw the report. She put her on there. Nominated her.
Any idea what she was nominated for?
I don't remember what it said. Excellent or something like that. She did something in her class.
Okay.
And Miss DeLuca nominated her.
Have you ever had like a one-on-one conversation with her? Did she confide in you? Do you feel like you guys were that close? Or?
There were some times like we do some testing in the beginning of the year, like fitness testing.
Okay.
And she was running and she was telling me I can't do it, and I was like, that's okay. Like, do you need to get your inhaler? And she was like, yes. So I walked her to the locker room.
Okay.
We got her inhaler, and then I just told her like, it's okay to sit out. Like, you don't have to, run crazy.
Yeah.
So we've had that like one-on-one, and then times where she felt like she needed to go to the counselor.
Okay.
She was upset about something or anxious. She would ask me. That's when her friends would kind of huddle in with her.
Okay.
And she would say, like, she needs to go to the counselor. Like, to go to the counselor. And then I would write her a pass, send her to Miss. And then the girls would ask if they could go with her.
Okay.
And kind of drop her off and then come back.
Any idea why she needed to go to counseling?
There was times that she said that she was feeling anxious.
Okay.
And she just said, like, I feel like I need to talk to a counselor. So I just normally, when kids are saying that and they recognize they need to talk to a counselor, I let them.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I didn't know if maybe it went further than that or not. But, okay. Have you seen any recent changes in her behavior?
Not really.
Okay.
She always just hangs around those girls, and like it's crazy that the description of what she was wearing, because she wears that all the time, like her green hoodie, her black biker shorts, and the Crocs. Like as soon as they said that, I was like, oh yeah, like that's something that she wears like all the time, kind of. But
no changes in behavior though. Okay. Any signs of depression or suicidal inclinations? How is her grade in your class? Probably a little atypical, right?
she doesn't dress out.
Okay.
So she had a locker.
Why doesn't she dress out?
I'm unsure. I
Okay.
don't know. She did have a locker assigned to her at the
Okay.
beginning of the year. I checked it just recently. Asked me to check it.
Okay.
And there was nothing on there, and there was nothing in the locker.
Okay.
A lot of kids don't like dressing out. They don't like changing in front of kids, or they feel uncomfortable. But we always give them options. There's like little showers in the back and go to the bathroom. But
Okay. So if she doesn't dress out, does she still participate, or does she do
yeah,
something
they're
different?
allowed to still participate.
Okay,
we
so
give
she
them
just-
two separate grades
Okay.
of like dress out and participation.
Okay.
It's a little different too with PE because they get pulled out of our classes to go to tutoring or other things like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Has she been pulled out of your class for anything like that?
I believe
You mentioned the
so.
counselor. Anything else?
I think we do this thing called MTSS.
Okay.
It's an intervention like tutoring.
Okay.
I believe she was on that list for a little bit in the beginning of the year. So she would go like twice a week. They would take her out of PE.
Okay.
And she would go there.
And what's it called?
MTSS intervention.
MTSS intervention.
Yeah, that's with Miss Godwin.
Okay.
I believe she was on that list.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever seen any signs of abuse for her or anything like that?
No,
Any bruises? Any references to anything that was going on?
no.
I know it's kind of hard looking back now.
Yeah,
It always
I
is.
know, but
Okay.
no. I mean, I guess just maybe the inclination of like her maybe wearing a hoodie all the time. But
Okay.
like it's
Okay.
cold, you know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. Kids.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But
Okay.
no.
Nothing obvious. She hasn't mentioned anything to you.
Nope.
Never saw any bruising. Nothing crazy like that.
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you think I need to know about your relationship?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the only thing I would say is just to me, she was a very anxious child. So
Okay.
for her to like maybe go away on her own just didn't sound right to me.
Okay.
Knowing that she always needed a buddy or she needed somebody with her.
Okay.
But yeah.
Have you ever anybody from her outside?
I've met her
Okay.
for one of the PE teachers maybe a few months ago. We had a short, brief conversation, but
Okay.
nothing. She was very nice, and
Okay.
that's really it.
That's it. Nobody else? No aunts, cousins, nothing?
Nope.
Okay, cool. I ask because these communities are pretty
Oh, yeah.
small. You know, cousins go to other schools,
Yeah.
and it's all pretty close
Yeah.
knit. So, she doesn't have any relatives that go here, does she?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Okay. All right. Did you have any questions or anything for me?
No.
All right, Miss Rentis, can you swear and affirm everything you told me has been true and correct? All right, you can go back to class.